Hello and thanks for watching. In this video, you will learn about how humans impact the nitrogen cycle, specifically through runoff from agriculture and pollution from septic systems and sewers. You will also learn about the process of eutrophication. Humans have an impact on the nitrogen cycle when we allow nitrogen and other nutrients to enter ecosystems in excess, meaning that there's too much. One way that this happens is through agriculture, or farming, how humans grow food. It is the job of farmers to grow the best food that they can, and as much of it as they can. They want their plants to be healthy, strong, and produce lots of food, so they get help from fertilizer. A fertilizer is a mixture of chemical compounds put into the soil that increases the amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium available for plants. Fertilizers are often naturally occurring, such as in animal waste or vegetable compost. However, many fertilizers are made in factories. When farmers use fertilizers, that fertilizer doesn't always stay put. When it rains or when the crops are watered, sometimes those chemical compounds can be carried away in runoff and end up in streams, rivers, ponds, and lakes. Pollution from sewage can also end up in these bodies of water. All of these cause problems. When fertilizer and sewage end up in bodies of water, that leads to there being too many nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus in the water. This is called eutrophication, and bodies of water become extremely unhealthy because of this. Too many nutrients, you may be thinking? How could that be a bad thing? Well, let's look at how that could work. Let's say we have a healthy pond. Then some fertilizer ends up getting dumped in it somehow. Fertilizer has lots of nutrients that are good for plants. So what would probably happen is algae would start growing like crazy. The top of the water would just be completely covered in green algae. This is called an algal bloom, and these are not good things. Can you think about what might happen to the plants covering the bottom of the pond that require sunlight in order to grow? Well, the algae is blocking all of the sunlight from reaching the bottom. So all of those plants at the bottom of the pond would die because they cannot photosynthesize and make their food. The algal bloom will also eventually die. All of these dead plants are food for decomposers in the water, like bacteria. As they eat up all of the dead plants, they use up the oxygen that is in the water in order to go through cellular respiration and get the energy from the dead plants. All those decomposers cause the oxygen levels in the water to decrease. If there is so little oxygen in the water, other things that live in the water, like fish, can't survive, and the population numbers would plummet. So, again, this whole process is called eutrophication, when there are excess nutrients in a body of water, and it becomes unbalanced and unhealthy. Usually, it causes algae populations to increase, and then populations of fish in the water to decrease.